Good morning, spiritual companions. We are reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, continuing chapter 6 on page 265, in the company of devotees, Sunday, July 22nd, 1883. Taking advantage of the holiday, many householder devotees visited Sri Ramakrishna in his room at the Dakshineswar Temple Garden. Adhar, Rakal, and M had come from Calcutta in a hired carriage. Sri Ramakrishna had enjoyed a little rest after his midday meal. The room had an atmosphere of purity and holiness. On the walls hung pictures of gods and goddesses, among them one of Christ rescuing the drowning Peter. Outside the room were plants laden with fragrant flowers, and the Ganges could be seen flowing toward the south. The master was seated on the small couch, facing the north, and the devotees sat on mats and carpets spread on the floor. All eyes were directed toward him. A devotee asked, "Sir, you met Pundit Vidyasagar. What did you think of him?" Master: Vidyasagar has both scholarship and compassion, but he lacks inner vision. Gold lies hidden within him. Had he but found it out, his activities would have been reduced. Finally, they would have stopped altogether. Had he but known that God resides in his heart, his mind would have been directed to God in thought and meditation. Some persons must perform selfless work a long time before they can practice dispassion and direct their minds to the spiritual ideal. In the end, they are too absorbed in God. The activities that Vidyasagar is engaged in are good. Compassion is a noble quality. There is a great deal of difference between daya, compassion, and maya, attachment. Daya is good, but maya is not. Maya is love for one's relatives, one's wife, children, brother, sister, nephew, father, and mother. But daya is the same love for all created beings, without any distinction. M. Is daya also a bondage? Master: Yes, it is. But that concept is something far beyond the ordinary man. Daya springs from sattva. Sattva preserves. Rajas creates. And tamas destroys. But Brahman is beyond the three gunas. It is beyond prakriti. What Brahman is cannot be described. Even he who knows it cannot talk about it. Once 4 friends in the course of a walk saw a place enclosed by a wall. The wall was very high. They all became eager to know what was inside. One of them climbed to the top of the wall. What he saw on looking inside made him speechless with wonder. He only cried, "Ah, ah," and jumped in. He could not give any information about what he saw. The others too climbed the wall, uttered the same cry, "Ah, ah," and jumped in. Now, who could tell what was inside? Devotee: Can one keep up an organization after attaining the knowledge of Brahman? Master: Once I talked to Keshab Sen about the knowledge of Brahman. He asked me to explain it further. I said, "If I proceed further, then you won't be able to preserve your organization and following." "Then please stop here," replied Keshab. All laugh. But still I said to Keshab, "I and mine indicate ignorance. Without ignorance, one cannot have such a feeling as, I am the doer. These are my wife, children, and possessions." Thereupon Keshab said, "Sir, if one gave up the I, nothing whatsoever would remain." I reassured him and said, I am not asking you to give up all of the I. You should give up only the unripe I. The unripe I makes one feel, I am the doer. These are my wife and children. I am a teacher. Renounce this unripe I and keep the ripe I, which will make you feel that you are God's servant, His devotee, and that God is the doer, and you are His instrument. I asked Keshab to give up this unripe I, the ego that feels, I am the servant of God and lover of God, does not injure one. I said to him, you have been constantly talking of your organization and your following, but people also go away from your organization. Keshab answered, it is true, sir. After staying in it several years, people go to another organization. What is worse, on deserting me, they abuse me right and left. Why don't you study their nature beforehand, I said. Is there any good in making anybody and everybody a disciple? It is extremely difficult to go beyond the three gunas. One cannot reach that state without having realized God. Man dwells in the realm of Maya. Maya does not permit him to see God. It has made him a victim of ignorance. Once Hriday brought a bull calf here. I saw one day that he had tied it with a rope in the garden so that it might graze there. I asked him, Hriday, why do you tie the calf there every day? Uncle, he said, I am going to send this calf to our village. When it grows strong, I shall yoke it to the plow. As soon as I heard these words, I was stunned to think, how inscrutable is the play of the divine Maya. Karmarpurkur and Hriday's birthplace, Sihore, are so far away from Calcutta. This poor calf must go all that way? Then it will grow, and at length it will be yoked to the plow? This is indeed the world. This is indeed Maya. I fell down unconscious. Only after a long time did I regain consciousness. Wednesday, September 26, 1883. M arrived in the afternoon and found the master seated on the small couch. Master to M, how is it that you are here today? Have you no school? M, our school closed today at 1:30. Master, why so early? M, Vidyasagar visited the school. He owns the school, so the boys get a half holiday whenever he comes. Master, why doesn't Vidyasagar keep his word? The other day he said he would come here and visit me, but he has not kept his word. There is a big difference between a scholar and a holy man. The mind of a mere scholar is fixed on woman and gold, but the sadhu's mind is on the lotus feet of Hari. A scholar says one thing and does another, but it is quite a different matter with a sadhu. The words and actions of a man who has given his mind to God are altogether different. Once a Vedantic monk came here. He used to dance at the sight of a cloud. He would go into an ecstasy of joy over a rainstorm. He would get very angry if anyone went near him when he meditated. One day I came to him while he was meditating, and that made him very cross. He discriminated constantly. Brahman alone is real, and the world is illusory. Since the appearance of diversity is due to Maya, he walked about with a prism from a chandelier in his hand. One sees different colors through the prism. In reality, there is no such thing as color. Likewise, nothing exists, in reality, except Brahman. But there is an appearance of the manifold because of Maya, egotism. He would not look at an object more than once, lest he should be deluded by Maya and attachment. He stayed here for 3 days. One day he heard the sound of a flute near the embankment and said that a man who had realized Brahman would go into samadhi at such a sound. While talking about the monk, the master showed his devotees the manners and movements of a paramahansa, the gait of a child, his face beaming with laughter, eyes swimming in joy, and body completely naked. Then he again took his seat on the small couch and poured out his soul-enthralling words. Master to M. I learnt Vedanta from Nagta. Brahman alone is real. The world is illusory. The magician performs his magic. He produces a mango tree, which even bears mangoes. But this is all sleight of hand. The magician alone is real. M. It seems that the whole of life is a long sleep. This much I understand, that we are not seeing things rightly. We perceive the world with a mind by which we cannot comprehend even the nature of the sky. So how can our perceptions be correct? Master, how can a man see correctly? His mind is delirious, like the mind of a typhoid patient. The master sang in his sweet voice, "What a delirious fever this is that I suffer from, Mother! Thy grace is my only cure." Continuing, the master said, "Truly, it is a state of delirium. Just see how worldly men quarrel amongst themselves. No one knows what they quarrel about. Oh, how they quarrel! How much shouting! How much abuse!" The master and M went toward the Kali temple. Master, this world may be a framework of illusion, but it is also described as a mansion of mirth. One can turn this world into a mansion of mirth. M. But where is unbroken bliss in this world? Master, indeed, it's true, isn't it? Sri Ramakrishna stood in front of the shrine of Kali and prostrated himself before the Divine Mother. M followed him. Then the master sat on the lower floor in front of the shrine room, facing the blissful image. He wore a red-bordered cloth, part of which was on his shoulder and back. M sat by his side. M. Since there is no unbroken happiness in the world, why should one assume a body at all? I know that the body is meant only to reap the results of past action, but who knows what sort of action it is performing now? The unfortunate part is that we are being crushed. There are the 8 bonds. Master, they are not 8 bonds, but 8 strong fetters. But what if they are? These fetters fall off in a moment by God's grace. Do you know what it is like? Suppose a room has been kept dark 1,000 years. The moment a man brings a light into it, the darkness vanishes, not little by little. Haven't you seen the magician's feet? He takes a string with many knots and ties one end to something, keeping the other in his hand. Then he shakes the string once or twice, and immediately all the knots come undone. But another man cannot untie the knots, however he may try. All the knots of ignorance come undone in the twinkling of an eye, through the Guru's grace. Do not reason. Who can ever know God? I have heard it from Nagta once and for all, that this whole universe is only a fragment of Brahman. Hazra is given to too much calculation. He says, this much of God has become the universe, and this much is the balance. My head aches at his calculations. I know that I know nothing. Sometimes I think of God as good, and sometimes as bad. What can I know of him? It is true, sir. Can anyone ever know God? Each thinks with his little bit of intelligence that he has understood all of God. Master, who can ever know God? I don't even try. I only call on him as Mother. Let Mother do whatever she likes. I shall know her if it is her will. But I shall be happy to remain ignorant if she wills otherwise. The young child wants only his mother. He doesn't know how wealthy his mother is, and he doesn't even want to know. All that he knows is, I have a mother. Why should I worry? Even the child of the maidservant knows that he has a mother. If he quarrels with the master's son, he says, I shall tell my mother. I have a mother. My attitude, too, is that of a child. Suddenly, Sri Ramakrishna caught M's attention and said, touching his own chest, Well, there must be something here. Isn't that so? M looked wonderingly at the master. He said to himself, Does the mother herself dwell in the master's heart? Is it the Divine Mother who has assumed this human body for the welfare of humanity? Sri Ramakrishna was praying to the Divine Mother. O Mother, O embodiment of Om. Mother, how many things people say about thee, but I don't understand any of them. I don't know anything, Mother. I have taken refuge at thy feet. I have sought protection in thee. O Mother, I pray only that I may have pure love for thy lotus feet, love that seeks no return. And Mother, do not delude me with thy world-bewitching Maya. I seek thy protection. I have taken refuge in thee. The evening worship in the temples was over. Sri Ramakrishna was again seated in his room with M. Master, you have accepted an ideal, that of God without form. Isn't that so? M. Yes, sir, but I also believe what you say, that all is possible with God. It is quite possible for God to have forms. Master, good. Remember further that, as consciousness, he pervades the entire universe of the living and non-living. Let me ask you one thing. Do you feel attracted to money? M. No, sir. But I think of earning money in order to be free from anxiety, to be able to think of God without worry. Master. Oh, that's perfectly natural. M. Is it greed? I don't think so. Master, you are right. Otherwise, who will look after your children? What will become of them if you feel that you are not the doer? M. I have heard that one cannot attain knowledge as long as one has the consciousness of duty. Duty is like the scorching sun. Master, keep your present attitude. It will be different when the consciousness of duty drops away of itself. End of that day. End of today's reading.